Welcome back. Rachael West, the lady behind Eating the Ozarks and our go-to foraging friend, joins me now. Rachel, always good to see you. How are you?
Good.
I'm good as well. Okay, so here's the thing. There's two main things we're going to cover today. And first is pretty unique. It's how you are beginning to use AI to kind of help convey and teach some of the efforts that you do through Eating the Ozarks. So before we get into it, take a look at this video.
In the middle of an Ozark forest where the crisp scent of juniper gently perfumes the air, a tale of discovery unfolds. The tale's hero, an adventurous yellow cat named Mr. Butters, finds himself drawn to the wisdom of a stoic juniper tree known as Juno. "Good day, Juno!" Mr. Butters calls out, his tail flicking in anticipation. "What secrets do your branches hold?" Juno, her branches pointing skywards like a natural cathedral, sways in response. "Ah, Mr. Butters," she murmurs, "my tale is one of resilience and historical significance. Would you like to hear it?" With a soft rustle of her fragrant needles, Juno begins to share her story. "In ancient times," she explains, "people held junipers in high regard for their purifying properties. The smoke from our burning branches was believed to cleanse spaces and ward off negativity." Mr. Butters, his eyes wide with intrigue, responds, "Purifying properties? Now that is truly fascinating." "Indeed," Juno agrees, "and our berries were believed to have medicinal properties. They were used to make healing tonics and ointments. We junipers were considered guardians of health." Mr. Butters' curiosity is piqued. "And your berries, Juno, what's their story?" Juno's branches quiver slightly as she answers, "My berries have a rich culinary history. They were used to infuse a unique flavor into dishes, especially certain meats. Their aromatic and slightly spicy notes brought a distinctive touch to culinary creations." Following this exchange, Mr. Butters finds himself on a journey of exploration, observing children playing with juniper branches, fashioning them into little houses, an imitation of ancient rituals. He also stumbles upon children using the berries to create vibrant dyes for their artwork, their laughter echoing beautifully through the trees. In the end, the bond between Mr. Butters and Juno extends beyond shared stories. They revel in the joy of discovery, the beauty of history, and the new tales they create together. The once quiet woodland now resonates with the playful meows of a curious cat and the ancient wisdom whispered by the branches of a juniper tree. Through their friendship, a new tale unfurls, a tale of exploration, history, and the enduring magic of the natural world.
This is so fascinating. Okay, so tell me how this is working and also how this kind of helps you do what you do with Eating the Ozarks.
So for years now, I've had this Once Upon a Weed series on my phone, and when I'm sitting in the green room back there or whatever, I'll just work on these different stories.
Yeah.
And so I had a friend that was like, "You've got to play around with AI," and I was kind of like, "I don't know, that's like the boogeyman." And so, but anyway, she's like, "With your brain and the way that you can use things," she's like, "You've got to play with this." And so one day I downloaded the ChatGPT app, and I stood in front of my refrigerator and I was like, "All right, wild wizard, I've got an avocado, I've got cilantro, I've got an onion. Give me 5 recipes that I can do with this." And instead of being like Google, where it gives you all these websites and then you've got to read all these bloggers, grandmother's, sister's, brother's story before you get to the recipe at the bottom to even see if you have anything. It was just like, boom, in text, just like how MySpace or Craigslist is, like just text to analog. Like it was just like, oh, here's all of these. And I was like, okay, well, what about planning an itinerary around this and this, and if you want to incorporate these things? And it was like, poof. And I was like, okay, all right, now I'm in the Jetsons. All right, I'm in the train. All right, what now? How else can I use it? And so you can use it for editing stories that you already have. You can have it for writing employee reviews. Today we did a chat GPT for Springfield Community Gardens, and I did a crop plan for somebody who had a 30 by 30 bed and they wanted to grow year round. And in under 4 minutes, it was able to give me a rotational planting chart, something that would have taken weeks of us sitting here looking at the back of every seed pack, trying to figure out. And so from an educator perspective, I understand artists that are worried about the mirroring and things like that. I can understand that side. But for me, being a library person, a free education, a let's give it all away, to know that teachers could have a subject that they wanted to cover with their kids and be able to do a story and tell the story and then be able to have a little video or a little commercial. as well as like for me with working with Springfield Community Gardens, being able to make little videos from individual unique community gardens showing their produce or some other B-roll of happy community gardeners to be able to drive interest to a food drive or to a thing with a 2-minute video. And so you guys might not know very much about juniper, but in that little video, through the eyes of a cat.
Yeah, you just learned a little bit of something.
But I can feed it that story and I can say, tell me this as if I was an elderly person versus a child. And it'll change my story enough to frame it so that somebody who was elderly would be able to attach themselves to the same story. So for being able to educate different demographics of people in such an easy way with the same knowledge. And so you're the driver. It's just able to fill in with B-roll so much other stuff. And so tomorrow we're actually going to be showing on a workshop through Springfield Community Gardens how to do those videos or how to generate images for social media posts. So the chat feature is really great for getting the text or the recipes, but then being able to go generate an image of, say, maple syrup with a community farm. To do a syrup tapping before you've got a photographer out there photographing your event.
Yeah, it's an interesting feature and it makes things more efficient, which is really cool for all the work that you do. Now this workshop that's tomorrow, it's free, right? How do people get signed up with that or situated with that if they're interested?
On Facebook, if you just go to Springfield Community Gardens, they should have the workshop right there for you just to be able to.
Okay, very easy. Now, real quick, what's this situation that I have right here in front of me that you brought in?
Before I got the okay that we were going to talk about the workshop tomorrow, I had already eyed these. So this is a wild garlic. We have both wild garlic and wild onions. These haven't been cut in forever, and so if you are driving around, if you are in the city of Springfield and you drive around and you see a long grass growing, it's 99% sure it's probably a wild onion. If you crush it and you smell onion, you really can't mistake. The only risk with these is if you already have onion on your hand, which Blake could probably smell when I walked in, you'll reek of onion. And if you go to a daffodil, it would smell like an onion. So only harvest from new areas first. But this is something you could blend this. I like to throw them in the oven and roast them until they're charred.
Very cool.
Turn it into sauce, seasoning, super easy.
All right, very cool. Rachel, if people want to keep up with you, everything you're doing, how can they get a hold of you?
EatingTheOzarks.com.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much, and also have a great and very successful Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
All right, well, coming up.